Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. As you guys are already well aware, so many things are happening with regard to the U.S. election, and specifically right here in Arizona, it's been a bit of a hot button. So with me today, I wanted to bring on somebody who had a lot more information on this topic, what's going on with the election, what's going on with Arizona. So I've brought on the broadcast Kelly Townsend, who is now our state senator-elect here in Arizona. Are you with me over there, Kelly?
I am, Lisa. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, congratulations. I mean, technically, right, we're almost there. By the way, I'll say that first and foremost. But what on earth is going on with our U.S. elections? I've got a couple articles that we're going to touch on in a moment. But in a general sense, can you describe what's happening in Arizona?
Yeah, Lisa, this is an incredible time, and I'm seeing an issue with voter confidence is very concerning. I have never experienced such low confidence in our elections process, and a lot of that has to do with the things that we're seeing in the last week. And so we are very concerned here in Arizona, and I think it's imperative that we have at least an audit, if not a recount.
And I agree. But explain to me this article here. This is on gatewaypundit.com, and I thought it was very interesting. But it's Arizona State Rep calls on Maricopa GOP chairman to step down upon news that she failed to show up to certify the Dominion voting machines. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So as information started coming out about Dominion and its ties to Nancy Pelosi, she had her former chief of staff is now on the board of directors for the lobbying firm that represents Dominion. That's too close of a connection. And there's other issues with Dianne Feinstein being involved. So we have this huge conflict of interest, which completely deflates voter confidence. And then the very first step that you go in and you certify these machines that they're basically calibrated and getting ready to start. You had the Democrat Party chair was in attendance. You had three of the Democrat Secretary of State's people in the room verifying that it was good, but no one from the Libertarian Party and no one from the Republican Party. And I went to find out what in the world happened, and the information I got back was absolutely unacceptable. So I called on her to resign because at the end of the day, no one was there from the Republican Party, regardless of what the excuses were. And the problem is, once we're not there and we move forward, do we even have standing if we have complaints about this Dominion program? So it was absolutely unacceptable, and it was right of her to step down.
Yeah, and that's the same question that I have in the back of my mind, because we saw what happened in Michigan with these Dominion voting machines, where 6,000 flipped from, flipped to Joe Biden, and seeing that, and there has been multiple counties now that they pointed out there, but knowing what we know in Arizona, where you have Democrats and you don't have any Republicans as part of this verification process, this is absolutely critical to what's going on, especially us here as a swing state. So I think, like you were saying in the beginning, it really leaves, people like myself, people in Arizona questioning the integrity of our election. And this is huge. And I think at this point, an audit needs to be done to just really verify these voting machines in general. And I mean, and a lot of people are questioning why so many Democratic ties to the machines. Where's the partisan? Where's the, equality of the machine, if you will, where we've got both parties involved. So I think this is a critical issue that Arizonans here in our state, we really need to be comforted on that they are worthy of what they're doing. Because so far, I think a lot of us have lost that confidence.
Absolutely. And I think we definitely need to have a look at why we are allowing a private company with zero oversight to manufacture these machines internationally. I might add, international ties to our election process. Spain has been involved in the past in our process, and in South Korea. We have some serious issues to address. I did try to address much of this. The results of these elections go on a tiny little SD card in these new machines in Maricopa County, and I wanted 4 people to be in the larger counties to observe those cards coming out of the machine, gone into an envelope, and transported down to the counting center. I wanted two from each of the major parties to look at that, and that was one of the bills I ran this year. That bill died in May during COVID. I was reassured that we would be coming back for a special session to address that issue as early as the following week. That never happened. Our governor never called us back into session. I put forward a petition to try and bring us back into special session. I did everything I could come up with. I, got a lot of people mad at me for it, but I had to have us come back and finish that, and it never happened. So the chain of custody of the very results that come out of the machine is in question. Certain areas around the state, there's just one person transporting it. Whether or not there's ever any kind of hanky-panky done at all, the fact that it's unattended by more than two people, is leaves it to the imagination, which destroys voter confidence. We have to have confidence in the system, or why do it? People won't go out and vote anymore. They'll think their vote doesn't count. Why should I bother? We have to have voter confidence, and everything we've done thus far has completely destroyed it.
Now, and you may not be able to answer this one, but how did it get there? I mean, when we think about where we were in our election, how on earth we allow this process with the Dominion voting machines and so many gaps? How do we get there?
We looked at that. We went on 3 different tours. We were reassured, that everything looks good. Myself and others weren't satisfied. Like I said, we had bills that were, in the works to fix it. And then COVID hit and down we went. And we were promised that we'd be coming back and doing a special session, but this was our governor. Our governor did not bring us back into special session. He said he was not interested in bringing the legislature to the table through the COVID issue. And he did everything by executive order. So we weren't able to fix this issue. So this is a massive thing that leaves the voter wondering, did my vote count? They don't even get a receipt when they go in on the day of and vote. Nothing is given to them to say that, yeah, your vote counted. And now I'm finding out that the Maricopa County Recorder's Office put out an update to their website to show the day of voter whether or not they voted. And they told me, and I disseminated that information, that if it says you voted and your vote was counted, that's dishonest. That is not the case. What it should say is that you checked in to vote. And when they put their ballot through the machine, it didn't register their name because it's a secret ballot. We do want to keep the secret ballot, but to tell them that their vote was counted, like what if they checked in and then they just put their ballot into a box, which many people have told me that they show up and they say, just put it in this wooden box with a slat, and they didn't see that their ballot went into a machine. They have no confidence that that was counted. So that voter confidence issue is huge. These people have no way to know if their vote was counted. That's a problem. And to be deceptive and tell them that it was counted when we don't know it is wrong. So we have many things that need to be fixed. And I think that's enough there to justify an audit, if nothing else, and a recount primarily is the best way to go.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem too that expands our borders, all over. They've got similar issues like that. But on another note, I'm going to throw this article here up. This is on gatewaypundit.com. Arizona rep points out that the number of potential non-citizens voters is higher than Biden's lead in the state. And then you put out this tweet recently on Twitter, and I'll share that. Does real Donald Trump know about the federal-only voters in Arizona who can't prove citizenship but can vote in the federal elections? 12,931 in Maricopa County, which will carry Arizona. I passed a bill forcing the publishing of these numbers so that we can see if election was not lost because of it. And you even put the little federal requirement form there as well. So tell us what's going on there with that.
So it's worse than what we even thought. We requested the numbers from the Secretary of State because the numbers I posted were only partial numbers from Maricopa County. It did not include the inactive voters up to that point. They could activate if they wanted. So I have here a printout of all the numbers in the state that add up to 36,473. 36,473 people are registered to vote who cannot prove that they're a citizen. The county recorder told me that they went through all of these and they reached out to them and said, do you have a birth certificate? Do you have something, a social security number, anything? Because we want you to be able to vote the entire ballot to include mayor and legislators and that type of thing. But right now, if you can't prove that you're a citizen, you can still vote in federal elections. So we have 36,473 people that are registered to vote in Arizona as a federal only voter and can vote for senator and Congress, their congressperson, and for president. And that's extremely concerning.
Is that in any way violating the Constitution?
Well, we have to go and look at that again, I think. I think we need to bring that back up to the Supreme Court. And we got a lot of work to do. This should not be okay. You should be able to prove that you are eligible to vote. If you wanted to get a library card in Gilbert, Arizona, and you go down there, not only do you have to show your driver's license or something that shows your ID, but you also have to show something about the house that you live in, just to get a library card that you actually live in that city limit that services that the library services. So if you have to do that to get the library card, why shouldn't you be required to do that to vote? And yet we allow them to vote in federal elections. It was a settlement that happened a few years ago that our former Secretary of State was involved in. And this is what they allowed them to do. So yeah, in Arizona and a couple other states, if you can't prove you're a citizen, you can still vote. And it will impact the outcome of an election, no doubt.
And it absolutely does. And with that, what can we do here in Arizona? Are they still accepting, kind of input on what's going on, or can Arizonans report anything that happened to them personally? Anything like that?
Well, 2 years ago, I fought to have a voter an election integrity unit. And we did get that. It's at the Attorney General's office. I'll give you the link that you can post if somebody's got something that they want to report. And if it's egregious, it should go to the police department. Like if somebody's intimidating you at the polls or something to that effect. But yeah, we have an elections integrity unit at the Attorney General's office. I recommend that if we can get people to join a lawsuit, that we fight this in the courts, because unfortunately, we would have to be back in session in order for us to do anything as legislators. And I don't see the governor talking at all about bringing us into a special session to deal with this. So, I'm hopeful that the courts will take care of it.
As am I. But you never know anymore. Well, what are your concluding thoughts about just everything we talked about, or maybe something that we didn't that you want to share?
I think if we focus on the integrity of the elections and voter confidence, that's what we have to do. Is we have to rebuild voter confidence. What has to happen for that to work? Well, we have to go back to the drawing board. Maybe we have to get down into the nitty gritty and do a think tank and look at maybe the blockchain is the answer, or maybe old technology is the answer. But what we're doing right now is just wide open for fraud. And why have elections if this is the way we're going to do it? And it's very concerning, especially with the rhetoric of people like AOC who say there needs to be a list of those people then held accountable, that supported Trump. That's frightening. And we always ask that question, why didn't the people in Germany, why didn't they push back? Why didn't they do something? Well, we are in a place right now that's very dangerous, and we better push back. We better fight. We better not worry about being called or racist or other names. We better knuckle down and get in there and fix this, because if we don't, the future is going to be asking, why didn't they do something? And it's not acceptable. We have to fight back.
Amen to that. Just a real big amen. And I want to just thank you for everything you've done, and just kind of really following up. I know it takes a lot to do that. So thank you for doing that.
You bet. Thanks for having me on.
Now, with that, how can people follow you? What page would you drive them to? And what's the link?
Okay, yeah. Follow me on Twitter. And it's Kelly Townsend 11. And that's where I'm posting my updates and action items. So see me there, and let's get this thing done.
All right. And for all of you who want that information, it can be found in the description box below. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven. And just as a quick reminder, please don't forget to check out my partner at hidewithlisa.com. If you guys don't have a VPN, today is the day to get one, because you never know who is following you, DDoS attacks. You want to make sure you have something that kind of hides what you're searching on the internet. So check it out at hidewithlisa.com. Well, I'm Lisa Haven, and that was Kelly Townsend signing out.